Welcome everyone to this overview of the Morning Star, second gate, sixth chakra, or Venus in her cycle through the sky. This is the activation and release journey, and we'll be focusing in this video on Venus at the sixth chakra gate. So we'll be giving you lots of great things to look at, and Tami's going to tell us what the overview is.
Yeah, so we are very excited about working with the sixth chakra. There are so many different dimensions to it, as there are with every chakra. But some that we are going to focus on are really looking at vision versus reality, and working with that and clearing around that. Also changing our perceptions and how powerful that is. Really clearing blocks to intuition and blocks to manifestation. And working through dream drought, we see all these things as deeply linked to the sixth chakra. And then some really powerful work and concepts around intentional prayer that we also will recommend. And then finally, we'll just have some also suggestions for home play.
Awesome. So just some images for people to work with for entering the sixth gate. You can imagine whatever you like. But we imagine this is a purple gate, this having to do with the sixth chakra, which is the color indigo that is often associated with it, or purple. And at this gate, this is in the story where Anana is asked to give up the vestment that symbolizes this third eye chakra, or the brow chakra. And there's many different versions of the story, and each version often has its own symbols. So one of the ways that it is described is it's for measuring rod and step. In this image that we have here, you can see that she's holding a rod and a ring in her hand. And so we could maybe even imagine that that is the image that they were, the ancients, the Sumerians, were looking at when Venus was passing through this gate.
Yeah, so and it's interesting, one of the things we'll focus on is our story and the power of the different ways that we tell our story. And even in this story, it's perfect because there are many different versions. And so even for each of you, as you tune into this, there's different resonance, different kind of symbology around each of these things. So what is it for you? Is it lapis lazuli earrings that also, connects into inner knowing, inner hearing, which connects to the sixth chakra? Is it the magic wand, which I love that revisioning that Cayelin brought in a while back with the scepter or the magic wand? That's a fun one, linking to manifestation. So there are ways we can tell, the different ways we tell this story, because we're here to reimagine it, another sixth chakra concept.
Those who have altars and maybe have put different symbols of the vestments, I've actually have a chakra wand. It's a crystal wand that I've sometimes used, or actually this wand I've used as well for that particular vestment. So we're just giving ideas and also sharing with you how this has been shared in different versions of the story. So there's no one right or wrong way, of course.
Right.
Be as creative as we want to be, and how we work with this and what that symbol is for us. So this is the gate that is known as the gate of perception, because of course the brow chakra, the third eye, some would say we look with our eyes and we see with our third eye. Yes, and so so you can play with that idea that this really is about how we perceive our reality, and it's connected to the pineal gland, and as I mentioned already, the color indigo or purple is also associated with this particular chakra and the gate of perception.
So in the sixth chakra, in terms of the physiology, it influences it has tremendous influence over the immune system, the brain, pineal gland, pituitary gland, eyes, nose, ears, and sinuses. So it connects to all of these systems in the body. All the five senses, including seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. So it's about, all the sensory capacities we have, and also the nervous system. So you can see it, just even looking at this gives us a sense for why it is that visualization and imagination is so powerful in terms of manifestation, because this chakra, this center in the body, really is like, it manages so much in terms of what happens in the physical and the biological. So signs of physical imbalance in the sixth chakra can include a brain tumor, stroke, blindness, deafness, seizure, and learning disorders.
So something that occurs to me as we're sharing this is that the five senses it's how we sense our reality through these five senses. And that really could also be considered 5 ways we perceive our reality. And this, of course, being the chakra.
Right. Good point. Well, and that gets me to the story about the elephant, you know, like that classic story about, like, is it the leg or is it the, so maybe it's kind of like, maybe the goal or the aim or our higher vision for the sixth chakra and really being these fully multidimensional beings is that we see it all at the same time.
Right. So what Tami is referring to here, in case you don't know, is that they have like 5 blind men or women, I suppose it could be, that they have touched an elephant in different places. So they're not seeing the whole element. All they can sense about this elephant is what they touch. And so some might be touching the trunk, and some might be touching the main part of the body, or the leg, or the tail, or, you know, whatever it is. And so their perception of the elephant is based on what they can sense with how they are touching it. And of course, there's so much more to the elephant.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So why practices are so powerful, tuning into intuition and our greater selves, it lets us see the whole elephant. Right?
Not just a little tiny section.
Yeah.
So the challenges of a blocked sixth chakra, and you know, one of the things that for me, and I find this can happen, is being forgetful, scattered, unfocused, and depending on what the new things are for me personally, some things I can learn really quickly, and other things are a little more challenging. But I love this image of the 2 creatures sitting on the rock, and it's Noah's Ark sailing off into the distance. And they're like, oh crap, was that today? Like, we forgot to get on the ark. Such a great reminder that, you know, being forgetful. I now write things down just so I don't have, I don't forget. And even then, sometimes things slip through. So if we have a balanced sixth chakra, we would maybe have a greater ability to focus and not be forgetful. And in the challenges, this can be, if you're a person who tends towards a lot of headaches or migraines, having sinus issues, neurological disorders, having seizures, this could indicate a blocked sixth chakra, as well as being obsessively worrying about things, being compulsive, having OCD, as they say, obsessive compulsive disorder, being fixated on things and not being able to let them go, fearful, having nightmares, and also self-doubt that really stops you from being able to do what's yours to do, why you're here, to fulfill your purpose. Also, really not helpful if you're overly sensitive, so you're not able to do what it is, you know, to fulfill your vision and why you're here. Envy, jealousy, bitterness, meanness, unhealthy pride, undisciplined, being impatient. I've never had that problem.
Yeah. Never. As the Aries Venus that you are.
Right. So being dogmatic, being inflexible, having rigid points of view, and we're going to talk a lot more about how our perception affects our reality. So part of what we can work with at this chakra is letting go of those very fixed points of view. And so there's also a challenge around someone who might be passive or unassertive and unmotivated. And then the other thing would be holding on to grief and personal pain as a way to feel sorry for oneself. Now, sometimes, you know I have done that at times just because it's so overwhelmingly difficult and I'm going through a lot of personal pain. But if this is going on for years and years, it's a problem. And
right.
A block in your sixth chakra. So these are great things to keep in mind as if you have any of these issues or challenges around what you want to be releasing during this gate, during this time. I have a month to work on it.
Yeah, and just, these are, if some of these areas come up, just know it's coming up because there's something in these areas that that may be standing in the way, that were already there, that were standing in the way of the fullest expression of your intention for this cycle and of what you're dreaming into at this time.
Beautiful. Well said.
So to balance this chakra, there are many, many practices we can do, and we will do many of these actually, and suggest them or support with these tools. Meditation, guided visualizations, practicing acceptance of self and others, to really counter that worry and that fear and the stress that's connected to the imbalanced chakra. Listening to our inner guidance as just finding true north for ourselves is a huge aspect of being in healthy relationship with the sixth chakra. And again, why it is that when we're lined up here, it can be that the rest of our life really feels lined up as well. And then spending time looking at it, being with the night sky, I love that. It connects us to our higher vision. And Cayelin, I think you'd really tuned into that. You want to talk about that a little more?
Well, just that, going out and being out under the sky, and that helps to expand our perception, expand our vision. And one of the things we do in the other classes, not in the videos, but in the teleclasses, is we'll talk, we share with you where Venus is, what are the stars around her, and how can we tune into that and work with that. So, so we'll give you some really great tools for that as we go through each of the gates.
Awesome. So yes, and we also will often recommend, really we're reactivating the priestesses and the priestess mysteries here, and using essential oils. Juniper is actually one of Inanna's, that's part of her medicine, and it's the plant that she works with. So juniper, basil, rosemary, cedarwood, eucalyptus, these are some ideas. And with any of these, we always invite you to do your own research on the chakras as well, because there's just so much out there, but this is a start. And then gems, purple fluoride, amethyst, clear quartz, pretty much any purple stone is going to connect you in with the sixth chakra, but these are some we love. I love the lapis lazuli. If you work with Inanna, this is her stone. I love lapis. In fact, Cayelin gave me a beautiful lapis bracelet that I love. And sodalite, sugarlite. I have sugarlite earrings on now. And actually it's fun because it connects to the crown and the six chakra gates. So have fun with stones.
The other thing that we often suggest, and for some reason don't have listed here, is to wear the color of the chakra.
In fact, you know what? In the future, are you wearing it?
Yes, I got a purple shirt.
Okay. Well, my earrings are holding that space.
Yes.
For me. In the future, I'll make sure.
So the gifts that we have when we have a balanced sixth chakra, and I love this about really skillfully using our imagination and thoughts to co-create your reality through healthy intuition. And we're going to look at this more deeply as we go through this. So just to keep that in mind, we'll just mention it here because that is one of the gifts that we get. And we also, this idea of how we create a reality through what we focus our attention on, attention and intention, and what we're visualizing. So, and then having a skillful ability to do self-evaluation and to learn from our life experiences. So that one is so helpful. And also because everyone goes through difficult experiences. So when we get to that place where we can turn that into our medicine or our gifts, rather than being the victim of whatever. So that would be an indication of a healthy sixth chakra. Being open-minded, and then also really honing our intuition and psychic abilities. And some people may not ever really be psychic, but they can have mad intuition. And so, either of those or both of those can be working together. And then just having access to our inner vision and the ability to travel to other realms and dimensions. That's also called astral travel by some, but some, it's just that ability to, through our inner vision and through our ability to move into other dimensions, which I think the sixth chakra is a portal for moving into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, I'm guessing that it feels like for both Cayelin and I that this is one of they're all juicy, but this is very special because We both have a certain amount of Sagittarius and Neptune or Pisces. So those two together, I think, connect in a lot with intuition and these pieces. But to me, it feels like, even being psychic, the ability, the psychic capacity, something to consider around that is that we tend to lean in different directions. So some of us might naturally be more clairsentient, where we have clear knowing, a clear sense around something, but we don't maybe see these, we're not clairvoyant. We don't see these dramatic visions necessarily.
Or clairaudient and hearing.
Or hear voices. So for, I think, many of us, it can be really knowing what is my my natural innate intuitive strength, and how can I cultivate that? But these are some things to play with, again. And I would actually recommend, I recommend the authors Judith Orloff and Cindy Dale, Cyndi Dale, who speak beautifully about cultivating intuition. They have a lot of great tools for that. But yeah, this is the place where we really cultivate our magical powers, magic wand territory.
And this owl is like multidimensional here. So.
Yeah, definitely.
We're representing that,
Yeah.
Being in many realms and dimensions, maybe even simultaneously.
Right.
So vision versus reality, and what we're looking at here, from the perspective of the third eye, the brow chakra, is that reality really is a hologram, and that we affect it by where we put our attention, where we're focusing our vision around. And so if we have a lot of fear, then that's going to affect how we experience our reality and experience our vision, our dreams coming into manifestation or not. So we just listed some of the fears here, and these are some that you can work with. You might have others that you'll come up with. So you're not limited to this, but there is that fear of failure, success, fear of really focusing and committing whatever to the time and energy that's needed to really manifest your vision, what it really takes to bring your vision into reality, the responsibility that comes with manifesting your vision can be fear around that. And also, a lot of people have the fear of, well, I won't even bother because I'm so inconsistent and I don't really follow through anyway. So there can be fear around that, like why even try to manifest a vision? And then also, a lot of this is because they don't feel truly worthy to have their vision. And then they will tend to end up like parents or others in the family, because those are the family patterns. And so unless you can really work with those patterns to release and let go, this is the perfect gate for doing that.
Yeah.
And then the other fear might be that you might not really want that vision. It's like,
right.
Do you really want it? And how do you know? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's so powerful. This list is so like real, I think, for so many of us. It's like, and it's like so many other things where we kind of have to be willing to understand that life is this journey of exploration. And if we're going to be creators, empowered creators, then sometimes it's just being willing to start. I kind of think of it as an author who's writing a novel. People do this in different ways. But sometimes, you might have a sketch for how that's going to go, and it may change. And I've, heard this from a number of authors but they have kind of a sense for where it's taking them. So you start with something, but I think a lot of our fear has to do with it's fixed, this idea that it's fixed. Whereas you have to set that initial vision in front of you, I think, so that you can have something to aim towards, which is going to change.
Right, probably will change, and it probably will take you someplace more amazing than you.
Exactly, and thank you, that's the power. And I don't know that we have that in here, but I'm glad you just brought that up, because that's exactly it. Like here, my vision or my intention is this, or something even greater, something even more spectacular and amazing.
Even Tami and I doing this Venus alchemy work, we were setting out with an intention for one thing, and we wound up here.
Yeah. So opening to that.
And amazing than what we could have ever imagined in the first place. So,
Yeah. Yay. Awesome. So, so another piece of what we're doing here as we're clearing and healing and releasing at the sixth chakra is learning to change our perceptions and become more masterful at even being aware of what our perceptions are in the first place. Really tuning into that, seeing it clearly so we can question it. We can really tease it apart. So Byron Katie, many of you may have heard of Byron Katie. She has her 4 questions that she works within the work, which is very powerful. We recommend checking this out more deeply. But the core questions are, so say, for example, you've got an issue you're really struggling with. Maybe you're afraid that, maybe there's this idea that you think someone has a judgment around you or something like this. And then you can ask the question, okay, really open it up. Is this really true? Is this, and really look at that from a detached place. And then to ask more deeply, can I absolutely know that this is true? And then how do you react, to see, how do I react? What happens when I believe that thought? Like, how does this impact me? How does this affect the way I move through the world? How does this affect perhaps the way that I engage with this person? Perhaps how does this, even just to take it a little further, how does this perhaps make it more likely that this is so? That's part of it. But then who would you be without that thought is another deeper question. And of course she goes through a much more multi-layered process, but this begins to...
This is the essence of the work.
Yeah.
And you can find, I think she wrote 2 books, The Great Undoing and Loving What Is. So,
right. And she also has PDFs. You can actually go to her site and you can find the worksheets where you can work through some of these processes. And so, a lot of it's just right out there. Lots of YouTubes.
Yes. And so for example, you can use it in terms of your own internal beliefs that are holding you back, but you can also work with it in terms of, say there's the political landscape that's really bothering you, or there's a person in your life who is really challenging you. And you might think that you might have a judgment about them. So is that really true? And can you absolutely know that it's true? And all of these questions can help you get to the deeper thing. And sometimes what people find out is that they wind up with more compassion for for the outer experience, whether that's another person or a situation, than they would have had if they hadn't gone through this process.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, it's powerful, powerful, powerful.
So are you talking about the releasing intuitive blocks?
I think you're going to talk about that one. I'll touch in about it because it's my Sonia Choquette thing. But
okay, so this is really important for us to really take care of our body temple. And one of the things that we love to remind people of is that every hour of sleep you have before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. So going to bed earlier can be one of the things, it really can help support you in getting deeper connection to your intuition, because if we're not fully rested, it's harder for us to connect into those intuitive places and really trust what's going on.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, I'm not making as good of decisions either. So right. So and eating healthy foods. And this is something that I have been on a journey for many years with, and really have just upped it to extra levels in this last couple of years. And I know, Tami, you have too. And so what we put into our body, I mean, there is that statement, you are what you eat. And so if you're eating a lot of processed foods with a lot of chemicals and sugar and things, that clouds the mind. It just does. And when you start cleaning that up, then you're going to have greater access to what's really true for you and what's really in you. And of course, then also moving your body, very important piece.
Absolutely. And I think that's really easy to miss. We think of intuition, we think of this as all like up and out. It's deeply, this is something a wonderful woman in our class is bringing up too, that the chakras, you can see them as connected to another lower chakra as well. And I think the 6th could be connected to the 2nd, which connects into full embodiment. If you really want to be intuitive, you've got to be embodied.
Exactly. And, I think that for a long time, there's been a misunderstanding around that, because the focus was on up and out, and then it's like our bodies are just like these things we have to deal with. So, but when we really take care of them, they are so amazing and magical. and
Yeah.
they take care of us. So we take care of them, and our body will take care of us. So taking time to slow down and listen, we tend to be at a very fast pace, and what's the last time you just did nothing?
Can I talk about that a little bit? Yeah. Just because I remember last time we talked about this, and there was a great woman in our class who's like, I'm really struggling with this whole do nothing idea. She's like, and I totally got it. It's like, what does that mean exactly? And I know when I think I was tuning into this part of it, that I got Reiki attuned a number of years back, and the woman who did it for me said that I needed to take an hour every day. I didn't do it, but I tried. An hour every day, and then a few hours like on Sundays or something to do nothing. And the way I ended up doing that was I would just lie down. I would lie in bed, and I would just I'd do my visualizations or whatever. I would just actually lie there, and I wouldn't necessarily sleep, but I would just really do nothing. Or sometimes I could have just gone outside and sat in the garden like that, no agenda.
Right.
Agenda at all.
You're not accomplishing something. You're not making something happen. You're not talking to other people. You're just in this place of just being in the moment. And I too have done the lying down meditation kind of thing. So the other piece is, of course, practicing your form of meditation.
Yeah.
And there's so many different things. We'll talk a little bit more about this too as we're doing the intention part, but it helps to raise our vibration when we relax, we slow down, and we allow the mind to rest, so to speak, because it's always going, at least mine is. So, and there's different ways you can do that kind of meditation. So we'll talk about that more as we go along. And then using the breath, really focusing on the breath, breathing into the belly, relaxing, maybe using mantras as you're breathing into the belly. These are all ways you can slow down and also listen and find out what's really going on. And you might get insights that you wouldn't have gotten if you were still just being busy all the time. So keeping our channels open is also really helpful. Taking time to pray. We're going to talk more about that too. Having a daily grounding practice, centering, connecting to the divine. And also, if you have a daily gratitude practice, that can absolutely change your life and really connect you into a more divine sense of who you are within you, and how from the place of gratitude, so everything, I think everything comes from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so being practicing healthy detachment, not being so caught up in our story or so caught up in our what our daily events are that if we can just kind of step back and go, it's kind of like the great undoing or the work, is it true? Is it really true? Is it, who would I be without feeling like this was true? So it's a way to not get swept up in the drama of others, but also creating more drama for ourselves. So do you want to share the Sonia and Choquette?
I've never done that before.
Oh no, me either.
That's funny. So this Sonia Choquette, who I actually also very much recommend in terms of reading any of her books about intuition and cultivating it. I think she speaks beautifully to this, the need to not get swept up in the drama of others, and a way to support you in not doing that, not going into codependency, because I do think patterns of codependency can really distort and create a lot of static around our intuitive faculties, because then our field is merged with others so much that we can't tell what's ours and what belongs to someone else. So, and a lot of that I think comes from our inner dialogue or narrative that we were raised with. It says, if I'm going to be a good person, then I need to really take this on for this other person. So she's speaking to how it's a myth that caring requires commiserating. Caring means allowing someone space to sort things out without throwing your emotions into the already overloaded mix. So I think that is a sixth chakra way of being with someone who might be struggling, is this respect for the field. This is my field, this is your field, and creating a spaciousness around it.
Right, and being in that place of detachment, so you're not like super overly engaged or codependent with another person. and so being able to step back and be detached so you have the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily share it with them unless they hate you.
Right. It's all fine. No problem. Don't worry.
Okay.
So of course, with the magic wand and all, the sixth gate is a potential place, a center of energy that we can tap into to manifest more powerfully. And at this gate, we can clear and heal and release the blocks around manifestation. So, and again, Cindy Dale, who I mentioned before, she has this concept that manifestation and healing are the same thing. So again, if we're courageous enough to actually claim our vision or claim our intentions, move through those fears we talked about, then we might automatically, as soon as we begin to move toward that, we talk about this all the time in a million ways, we might end up encountering some areas of our psyche, of our emotional fields, of our lives that need healing. So, so just to understand that, if you see, what these clearing these blocks is a healing process. So some of the blocks are cluttered mind and intention. So sometimes we're just so busy, we've got so much going on here that it's really hard to listen and hear and have that deeper sense of what's true for us. So we can clear that space by praying for guidance to heal blocks, holding you back from stepping into your greater self. That's one way I like to think of it. Maybe I think I have a future self that I connect into who is really embodying her work in the world in a way that I want to step into. And Cayelin's going to talk more about intentional prayer. But really, ask for help. Ask for help in getting clear and see all that comes up in your life after you've set your clear intention or you've said what you want to manifest. See everything that comes up as getting you to where you need to be. Start to really look at everything from that lens, even the things that might be challenging or even the things where you might say, oh my gosh, I really screwed it up. Really look at it from the lens. It's getting you exactly where you need to go. And so how is this experiencing helping me get where I want to be? And that is an immediate point of power that you can return to and trust. And then, so limiting convictions also, there are many ways to look at this, but using all of your senses, spending 5 to 10 minutes every day, even 3 minutes, just really looking at what it is that you want to manifest and to really feel that, be in that, using all of your senses, imagine it. What would it be like? What would you do? How would it feel? The more time you spend with this desire, which is a practice, it requires a lot of focus and you can get there. So start small. It can really help you alleviate these limiting convictions. And the other piece, what Cayelin was referring to in terms of healthy body and energy and movement and all these things, again, has to do actually with the reality that if you want to manifest something, you do need you need a strong energy field. You need strong chi so that you can actually make this, you can hold that intention, you can really work with it. So that's another thing is replenish your stores.
Activate your Shakti.
Yeah, right. And then another block that's very common is that we can sometimes really focus on, oh, I don't have that. I really want that. I really want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. God, give me what I want. Give me what I want. I want this. I want this. But then not really, like for one thing, the gratitude is so powerful because you are beginning with the point of, this is what I do have. That is such a powerful thing for manifestation, is experiencing gratitude. So, kind of like when you're in a relationship and you're just always focused on what you don't get in the relationship, that's not very attractive or supportive. So instead, you want to shift your focus to all the proof you have that what you want is already on its way, and just practicing gratitude so that you can step into that field of abundance and awareness that what you need is there. And then grasping and over managing is another thing. So that a lot of times in many magical kinds of formulas or spells or whatever it is that if you work with magic to manifest, it's often part of the procedure that once you've gone through all those steps, so like what I'm talking about here, then beyond that, let it go. Do not focus on it anymore. Do not worry about it anymore. Just trust. And then that's where the real magic comes through. And the last thing I'll say is, like you said before, Kier, what we were talking about before is this or something better. I should have put that in there because we always want to include that.
Yeah, right. Be always open to the expansive possibilities that we haven't considered because we didn't have the ability to even consider them.
Right.
Yeah. So that's awesome. All right.
And then I'll just speak quickly as well to You know, the sixth chakra gate is also, in order to tune into our deeper intuition, things like astral travel, moving between the worlds, our superpowers. Dreaming is one powerful, even actually gaining, becoming better at visualizing and cultivating our imagination and our ability to tell stories. All of these things can be cultivated through a stronger dream life. So, and you know, I work with Robert Moss. I'm one of his dream teachers. And so for me, this sixth gate work of dreaming, you know, I would really, Cayelin and I both, we really believe in dreams so much and think that this is a practice for the full cycle to really activate, but this is a good time to begin it. So if you struggle with dream drought, the first thing is don't blame yourself or shame yourself. You know, we all have different cycles. Sometimes we have more come through. Sometimes we have, I have fragments. I love my fragments. I do a lot with that. As long as I write down what I feel when I first wake up in the morning, that for me is huge. That affects everything. But you can take vitamin B6. That helps with dreaming. Go to bed earlier, as we talked about before. That's a huge help. I sometimes want to do a brain dump or write what I need to do the next day before I go to bed, so I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. worrying about that. And then setting clear intentions to recall my dreams. That's very powerful. You don't do it every night because you want to have just free flow. But if there's something big, don't neglect that very powerful tool of just really deeply asking, I want guidance and support in my dreams for this issue. And then again, when you first wake up, write down dreams, fragments, feeling, first thoughts. If you do that every day, I have a friend who's this very successful corporate headhunter. This is the one thing he tells people. Write down your feeling, write down what's there when you first wake up, and that will change your life. Then regularly share your dreams with partner, friends, groups. Restore a dreaming culture. We do this in our group, and it's so powerful. We have some very just amazing dreamers in this group, and they're a gift. So just encourage you to share your dreams in the circle when that feels good to you. And then this is, oh, go ahead, Cayelin.
Share, and share with your, if you don't want to share with the greater group, though we would love for you to, you can always share with your Venus buddy if you have one.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, you can dream, and we encourage that. You know, if you can't think of anything else, you know, to do with your Venus buddy, and we've of course got the questions that you can work through or any insights you can just share. You might just regularly share dreams, and you can use the lightning dream work game as a really fun, easy way to kind of tease out what's going on in the dreams and help each other. And the way that the questions work is, the first is you ask your dream partner, what was your feeling when you woke up? You know, after they tell the dream clearly, almost like a story without any background. So the dreamer tells the dream. And then you, as the person who's working with the dreamer, what was your feeling? What is the dream title, as if it's a short story or a movie or something, just whatever comes top of mind. And then the next thing is reality check. How does this dream relate to the rest of your life? You know, what are some themes or patterns that you see in the dream physically? Do you see people you recognize? Is this a place you know physically? Does this remind you of something? Does this rhyme with something in your waking life or in other dreams you've had? And then also you can ask the question, could this happen in the future? And then the next piece is that if you are asking your Venus buddy, taking them through the dream, you will say, if this were my dream, and then that's the place where you can talk about what insights come through for you around that person's dream, and they can take or keep or not. It's their dream, so they can take that insight. And then you might, and again, I'm saying this in two ways, like do it with your Venus buddy or do it for yourself. You can write about it yourself. The last two pieces are to ask your Venus buddy or you yourself, what's my action plan to honor the dream? And then what is a dream slogan that comes from that dream? Some kind of a mantra, some kind of a phrase that carries the energy and the power and the insight from the dream. So this is just a deeper practice you can use over the course of this entire cycle that is a very powerful practice.
It is incredibly powerful, and writing down pieces of it. And then I've done that and then gone back later and had even more insights and written more. And I've written articles about dreams I've had that are on my website. So it's awesome to have this practice to work with. I really recommend it.
Awesome. Yeah, so good.
So we're going to look at steps for intentional prayer. And this comes really from Lynn McTaggart's book, The Intention Experiment. And I love that she really thinks that a single collective directive thought is all it takes to change the world. So this is how we use our thoughts to change our life and to change the world. So what she says is the very first step is to really focus your intention to ignite your attention to ignite your intention. Right. So by powering up your personal energy, and we were talking about this earlier, that things we can do to change our personal vibration as we're then getting ready to focus on an intention, finding a sacred space, someplace that's safe and quiet, feeling gratitude and expressing gratitude. Maybe we even have a gratitude prayer or mantra or something that we say out loud, because that can also raise the vibration. Gratitude definitely is a high vibration. Sending blessings of pure love and light to those you love and to those who challenge you and to the planet. That's a good one. So that also raises your vibration, as well as all the energy around you. And practicing some form of meditation. And so there's lots of different ways to meditate. There's mantra meditations. There's, like softening your focus and staring at a candle, or, just so many different ways to meditate, including there's dance meditation, there's moving, shaking, humming, singing, mantras, as we already said. But particularly, one of my favorites is Sa Se Kem Sahu, and I use that one quite a lot, or Om or Ah, to raise our vibration, our personal vibration, drumming, ringing bells, shaking rattles. So also, again, this idea of focusing our breath and how that can help us to get more in tune with our body and what's going on, and then help us to raise our vibration. And using brain enhancing music. So there is a lot out there these days that is just music. There's not necessarily words to it, but it helps to balance both sides of the brain and raise the, the megahertz or that is designed to get your brain from maybe let's see, I think we're in beta when we're in normal reality, and you can go into alpha and theta, and there's different places where you can get into places where the brain is actually enhanced, and when we're then energizing intentions, conjuring vivid mental images, creating verbal affirmations. These are all ways that we can help raise our energy, and our, as Lynn McTaggart likes to say, powering up. We powered ourselves up. And then once you've done that, it's like, imagine what you want. Imagine what you most desire. Maybe want isn't the best word. Imagine what you desire. Imagine where do you want to be? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to feel? How do you want it to express for yourself? And be as specific as possible, and be detailed with your vision and intention. And this piece actually comes, the request it, expect it, and accept it when it shows up, comes from a book called Mutant Message Down Under, Marlo Morgan. And they would get up every day and make a request for their needs to be met. They would expect that their needs would be met, and then whatever showed up, they accepted it. So, and all their needs were always met. And it didn't always show up in a way that she would have thought was good, or what she might have had a judgment about, but they were totally attuned to and working with this. And so it taught her a lot. So another way we could say this is just to ask for what that intention is, and then let it go and trust, as Sammy was speaking to earlier. And something just to know is that there is exponential power in group prayer or group intentions. So if you with another person, or we might even come up with an intention that everybody could focus on. And
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. And we want it to be specific, not like, I think world peace is a great intention, but it's maybe too broad and too vague. So we might need to come up with something a little more specific than that, or something else. I mean, whatever we want it to be. So she's, in this book, she talks about groups of people getting together and focusing and sending an intention, or imagining, sending prayers to help people who are sick, or whatever that's about, and the incredible results they have doing that. So it's a great book for that, for reading that. And then something else she talks about in the book that she got from Dr. John Diamond, he actually is the one that sort of brought in the whole idea of muscle testing that's now taught everywhere. Kinesiology is it called? And what he found was that when people had a homing thought, and the homing thought that's what he called it, but it's really tuning into your deeper life's purpose. It strengthens your energy field so that stressful events, negative thoughts from others or yourself maybe even, don't derail you. And so the way to find your homing thought is to really think about what you love to do, what's the most exciting for you, where's the greatest juice for you, and make a list of what those things are. And I just gave some examples like being in nature, playing or listening to music, helping others, being creative through art, performing, design, business, writing, speaking, teaching. These are all things that you write down, and then you look for the themes of what it is that you've written down. And so some people already know their life's purpose or have a sense of their life's purpose, but it's just a way of tuning into another level and getting a sense of what is giving your life meaning and what gifts you have to express and what really turns you on. And so then I was imagining that a homing thought could be something like that you're really here to learn how to truly love yourself, or maybe to be a successful writer, or maybe to be an inspiring teacher, or on and on and on. There's so many different ways that could be, but cultivating whatever that homing thought is. And then if you find yourself getting off center and off balance, or feeling like there's a lot of negativity coming in, you return to your homing thought. And I was in a class with Lynn McTaggart actually, and we did this practice. And it was amazing because then, of course, afterwards she has everybody come back together. But when you're tuned into your homing thought, if somebody's sending you, and then we would send the other person negative energy, like anxiety or whatever that would be. And when they were tuned into their homing thought, that it didn't affect them at all. But when they weren't, oftentimes, it was just an amazing practice. So
wow. I think that's so powerful for the times we live in, such change and so much chaos a lot of times around us. To cultivate that emotional, intuitive, energetic resiliency is powerful.
And the thing is that sometimes people can send you negative energy. They're not even conscious of it.
Right.
And I notice, I've just been very conscious of how, like, when I hear things, when I'm driving around listening to the radio and, I hear something on the news and I'm like, what? Are you kidding?
Right.
And I'm like, ooh, what kind of energy am I sending that? So, and also because, we can find ourselves getting off center. So it's really great to create your homing thought and then just come back to that whenever you find yourself off center.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. So this is the completion of this course is that we love to share sometimes 4 questions, because it's nice, because then you can, if you wish, you can pick or choose and say, wow, this one question really does it for me. And I'm going to work with this all month. Or you might say, I'm going to take one a week and just really work it in my Venus journal. Maybe talk about this with my Venus buddy and really dive in. Or you may make your own questions, but these are some ideas based on the themes we're working with. So the first one could be, and you just really feel into this, what would it take for me to release all the ways I am not in touch with my intuition and inner vision?
And you can also adjust these, but this is a template, a starting place.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's another way for you to word that question that works better for you, and that's completely fine. We're just giving questions. So what would it take for me to release all the ways I've limited my imagination due to doubt and not believing in myself? This is a really good one.
And just imagine, like, really diving in and focusing in on one question a week. I'm just saying, like, I think it's very powerful to have this focus for a month. It's so great. What would it take for me to release all the limiting perceptions that have kept me from experiencing the magic of who I am and the gifts I have to bring to this life? The limiting perceptions. And the other piece I think I learned from Julia Cameron from her Artist Way work is that when we do the questions, what can be useful at first is to really keep an antenna up for the places where as soon as we say the phrase, it's like, I can't do that, or like a mocking tone, or, like, this is a dumb question, the blurts. She refers to them as blurts. So write down all your blurts and have that be part of the inner dialogue around the question of, where are my blocks around this? Or also, how can I refine the question so it works for me?
Right. And also the other thing is if you find yourself, you have a lot of resistance to a question, that might be the question you really need to work with.
Right, right. If it turns you on, or if you feel a lot of resistance, that might be a yes.
Mm-hmm. So what would it take for me to release all blocks that stand in the way of joyful and easy manifestation of my full potential and most cherished dreams? So, yeah.
Awesome.
Love those questions.
Yeah.
Yay.
So then at this stage of our journey, some of this is going to be repetition, but we just want to encourage people to, again, continue to work on your Venus altar. This is something, you know, even if you're in like month 4 and you haven't done it yet, it's never too late. You can always create a Venus altar. You can do it simply. You can make it extravagant. But this is something to tune into. You can design it for a while. You can go online and get your goddess that you want.
I just want to share quickly, because when we were in Teotihuacan this year at the pyramids, there's a place where they had, it was like a Venus altar. These kind of murals, paintings on the walls to Venus, and with lots of symbols and things that they were working with. And somebody said, "Oh my God, this is a Venus altar." And I was like, "You're so right. It's such
Wow.
altar they were creating to Venus." So there's, you know, so they were doing it. They were, you know, finding ways to create visual connection to the Venus cycle. And that whole complex was really built with Venus in mind. So the pyramid complex there.
So powerful. Wow.
So it's good for us to know that and to also practice it.
Yeah. And remember, again, like we said before, altars alter perception, awareness. So again, that's how it connects to the 6th chakra. So, you know, you have these visuals in front of you and it really focuses you there. Morning Star Buddy check-in, of course, always we really recommend that. We just think people who do it get a lot out of it. It deepens the experience. And again, see the Morning Star Buddy tips handout. You can check that out. And then ceremony with Venus and the moon in the morning sky. Always, always, always recommend that. And just with Venus, you know, even when she's not with the moon, just to connect in with her in the morning sky and see how she changes, where her position is, how she feels when you connect with her in your body, when she moves through different signs, different stars. You know, really see how she changes just as we change. She's a mirror for us. She's a mirror of what's happening inside of us. And then work with the 4 questions, Caylin's guided meditation, releasing the 3rd eye chakra, powerful meditations, and my Sky Temple guided meditation, and then the Venus Temple meditation as well. And then the tuning into your chakras meditation, which again is a good tune-up. You can use at any time to check in and see what's going on with the different chakras. So then here's one exercise that you might also wish to use in your journaling if you're not already like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much. And that would be to maybe focus on an issue, journal about it. We talked about this a little bit. Something that's really absorbing your attention, and maybe you just feel really fixed on this thing. There's a lot of worry and circular thinking. And then take 10 to 20 minutes just to tell the story, to write it as it's currently narrated in your head. Just, what is the story in my head? Really dig deep. What is this? What do I think about this? How is this in my mind? And then take your story through the Byron Katie questions. You know, and it might be, as Caylin said, it may very well be something that's out in the world of form, like in the political sphere or something like that. That could be very powerful. So tell the story of what it is, and then ask, is it true? Can I absolutely know it's true? How do I react? What happens when I believe that thought? And who would I be without that thought? So go through the filter and see how the story changes and transforms, and see what opens inside of you that can help you be an agent of transforming your environment starting inside, which is what this chakra really has a lot to do with.
So imagine this is going to be a magical, amazing month for us to see where we may have some challenges with this chakra energy, where we get to release, let go, because that's the whole intention and point of this cycle. And really looking forward to hearing what everyone has to say on the Facebook page, or you can email us if you're not on Facebook, and share with us, and we would be happy to share with the group as well. And also there is a place on the page, the class page, where you can post at the bottom of the page, where you can post if you want to post there as well. So looking forward to hearing from you and seeing how we transform through this journey.
Yay. Awesome. So enjoy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.